I'm starting this with a massive rant.
Okay.
Buckle right the F up.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Give me a salute or something. Can't believe you did it. What a dweeb.
Oh, all right then.
Okay, here we go.
Double barrel, buddy.
Take two of those and call you in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Almost Sunday podcast. Lucas Klaus, Joel Mendelson, Eli Cron. No trivia wars or would you rather today. Of course, the most relevant news around the NFL. But first, an update to my playoff bracket. We said we're going to get 3 amendments. Big injuries, which haven't happened yet, luckily. After preseason and post-draft. Well, it is post-draft, and I have one. Currently, I have the Dallas Cowboys winning the NFC East for the second year in a row, something that hasn't happened in this division for 23 years. Obviously, that's the longest active streak in an NFL record. It's kind of a crazy thing to think about. But after the draft and after the rocky offseason, to say the least, that the Cowboys have, I am removing them from the playoffs entirely. A team that had won at least 12 games for 3 straight seasons, Joel, I'm taking them right out of there.
Dumb.
And it's time for the return of the prodigal sons. The Philadelphia Eagles are back in, and here's why. They collapsed last offseason. Why did that happen? Coaching, defense. Well, 2 new coordinators, Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore. Now, Vic Fangio, apparently the Dolphins hated him. That's why he only had 1 year with them. Like, the players hated him. And Kellen Moore, I'm not the biggest fan of. I didn't think he would change life for Justin Herbert. But still better than what the hell the Eagles were running last year. I think he knows how to use the weapons, get back to the run game, simplify. So reservations on both, but still an upgrade. On defense, they bring in veteran Devin White at linebacker. That's huge for them. Their defense was atrocious to watch, especially in the latter part of that season. At corner, Quinyon Mitchell, drafted in the first round, best corner in the draft. Second round corner, Cooper DeJean, either the second or third best corner in the draft, despite being white. Had to mention that because people are freaking out about it, having a white corner in the league, potentially. Third round, drafted an edge rusher to a line that's already solid. Also brought back cornerback C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who had his best year with Philly. And so locking up that defense and an offense. A.J. Brown gets the bag. Devontae Smith gets paid. Dallas Goedert's still there. And the cherry on top, because it's who the Cowboys should have gone after, Saquon Barkley in the backfield. Get back to pounding the rock, and this team is a problem. Joe, thoughts on me canning the Dallas Cowboys?
I think it's dumb. I think flat out, I think it's like stupid. People always say, oh, they don't do anything in the offseason. There's 5 months left in the offseason. Like, chill out, man.
Well, the draft is already over, bud. And,
it doesn't matter. The offseason keeps going.
Who are they going to get? Who are they going to get? Who's available?
But if you're telling me you don't think the Cowboys are making the playoffs, I think you're crazy. They might not win the division. I still think they're going to win the division. Sirianni is the problem in Philly. I don't know. You can replace everybody you want. He's going to have a meltdown on the sideline when Jalen Hurts spikes the ball on 3rd and 8. It's going to be a great time for me again.
Hey, Jalen Hurts doesn't do that.
This is just how it's going to go. You're so confident right now, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I am very confident now because last season actually came in with the opposite, where I was looking at the Cowboys, and I loved what they had done in the offseason. They brought Stephon Gilmore in, so they had 2 solid corners. Obviously, what's his nuts got injured in the regular season, so they lost him. But now it seems like it's a kind of a weird spot for them in a contract year for Dak. They don't really help him. They lose Gallup. That's not the biggest deal, but that's still something. Brandon Cooks is still there, all right. He's, nearing the end of his career. He's still fine. He's still good, like a solid 2, probably closer to a 3 at this point. And they signed Zeke Elliott back.
Yeah, no, it's a useless.
Like, whoop-de-do. However, this guy is slow as shit. There's so much tread in his tires. I don't know what they're going to do with that now. I know I'm not the Tony Pollard guy, but it's better than Zeke. There's no way he's rushing for 1,000 yards.
They need another running back for sure, but I will say you're clearly not familiar enough with being involved with the Cowboys because you got to learn to keep a cool head, man. You got to stay pretty neutral. You can't get too high, too low. You know how it's going to end. You just got to keep weathering the storm, brother.
Oh, you only became like that last season.
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
You were all over it.
But I've always preached it.
I remember Zeke's last game with Dallas, taking a snap at center and getting absolutely rocked. And you standing outside my apartment, leaning your head against the elevator, miserable. So don't tell me you were cool and even keel, buddy. You were riding high. And
Joel, you sound like a Leafs fan now.
Well, that's what they are.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's the
It
same
is the
thing.
exact same thing.
I love to watch the Leafs lose, man. It's great.
Classic Habs fan.
I just think Dallas is in like an odd spot now, where it's like they've clearly went for it recently, trying to get over the hump, and they can't do it. And now Dak wants the bag, and it seems like they're almost ready to move on from him.
Lukas, if you're right from this and the Cowboys don't make the playoffs, I'll give you all the praises you want. Okay, I'll give you $100 just like that. But
okay.
There's no way they're not making the playoffs. They're still just too talented. I think the Eagles are going to make it in as well, but both can make it in. I think they're both great teams.
Here's the thing. You both have the Rams out of the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it's the Rams.
I think I changed my pick to put the Rams in the playoffs, actually.
So what does Dallas do better than the Rams?
I think they do a lot of things better.
Name one.
I think their pass rush is better. I think
not in big games, but okay.
In regular season wise, I think the quarterbacks are pretty on the same level.
Stafford and Dak are on the same level.
Right now, yeah, I agree.
Regular season wise?
Regular season for sure.
Really? Is that so crazy?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think Stafford has a serious chance to end up in the Hall of Fame, and Dak has no chance to end up in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, well, forget about the Hall of Fame. We're talking this next season coming up.
Oh,
right?
okay.
We're not talking about who's going to
comparing quarterbacks.
Whoever is the next Hall of Famer who gets in. I think he's going to be the better quarterback this next season. No, those don't relate.
Okay, how about a quarterback that can actually play well against a good team? Not Dak.
Matt Stafford won't be making the Hall of Fame because of his time in LA, though. He's making his Hall of Fame because of the time he spent in Detroit, and then he got the Super Bowl in LA to finally push him.
Yeah, don't you think the Super Bowl is going to have anything to do with his Hall of Fame case?
But if he just came in and won a Super Bowl, he's not like just automatic. Like I'm trying to like.
Yeah,
Joe Flacco's not making the Hall of Fame.
Flacco doesn't have nearly the numbers that Matt Stafford has.
But that was in Detroit.
Oh, what? Wait, you're saying
that's a different time.
He still has numbers with the Rams.
Not the same, though.
Okay, because he's not the young guy that he was. So what?
Yeah, he's not as good as he once was. So I would say right now, Dak and him are on the same level.
That's ludicrous to me. Dak cannot play well against a good team. He's like
Ludacris is a rapper, idiot.
Bro, he's still going to get 11 wins at least next season. That's going to be good enough to get them in.
I'm seeing 8. I'm seeing maybe 9 wins for you guys.
Wow, you better be hammering that under because you might make a lot of money if that hits. Or actually you'll lose a lot because that's the dumbest bet known to man.
I don't like their roster. All their best players disappear against good teams.
What happened to CeeDee Lamb? Did he die? Did he die?
Well, he's dependent on Dak. And
Jake Ferguson?
What about him? He's also dependent on Dak. Eli, please stop naming people that are dependent on the guy I'm explaining is
the guy I'm explaining got 12 wins last season with those same guys.
Yeah.
And they went for a ton of numbers.
Against good teams, what did they do?
They still got 12 wins in the season, man. Make the playoffs. It doesn't matter if they bet against some good teams and they beat all the teams. That'll be enough to get them into the playoffs. And that's what you're talking about.
Teams. Beating mediocre teams gets you into the playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
First of all, they lost a game against the Cardinals last season. But also
one team.
Now that you have less talent, the losses against worse teams are going to pile up. Lock it in. Dallas Cowboys.
It's not that much less talent, though.
Oh, it's enough.
They didn't add very much, but they didn't lose that much.
They lost enough. They lost Pollard. What are they going to do? Rico Dowdle and Zeke Elliott?
You can sign any running back.
Who?
I don't know. There's 5 months to do it, though.
Okay. This is
so Lucas, if they had a good running back, right, a solid running back, would you say they're in the playoffs then?
No, that's not enough for me.
That's not enough.
If Tony Pollard was still there, that would not be enough for me.
Okay, well, not a Tony Pollard, like a prime Zeke.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. That would be enough
so
for sure.
All they need is a really good running back, and you think they'll be back in.
Well, prime Zeke was a top 3 running back.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. A really good running back.
2 years, though.
Yeah.
Literally 2 seasons.
Of course. It was only 2 seasons, but for those 2 seasons, he was extremely effective.
Very good.
Catalyst. Also, Dak's win-loss ratio drops horribly when he does not have a 100-yard rusher in a game. And I don't see any of these guys doing it unless Rico Dowdle is going to take off or they sign this mystery man that Joel's talking about. Dak cannot carry that team to me.
I'm intrigued with the mystery man.
Oh, yeah. You and me both.
Is it going to be?
Other news. Miami Dolphins sign OBJ to a 1-year, $8 million contract. Eli, like this fit for the Dolphins and OBJ?
Super Bowl confirmed. OBJ is that guy. No, this is a nothing burger, right? Like, he was pretty average in Baltimore, not really that good even. And he had Lamar as his quarterback. So I don't know if Tua is going to be that much better for him, more helpful. So I think he's kind of like a fringe third wide receiver. Some games he can make some crazy catches, but he's not nearly as good as he once was. And I don't think this moves the needle that much for the Dolphins.
Yeah, you said, how does he fit here? And all I can think about is it's just going to be pictures of his outfits getting out of cars in Miami, like coming to the game, and then sitting on the bench.
Port City.
Yeah.
He's going to be vibing.
Really hard to actually be the wide receiver 3 on that team.
Yeah, I don't know
what he does. There are 2 guys that are better at his position.
To me, this is also mostly of a nothing burger for me. No, Tua is a more prolific passer than Lamar Jackson is, but what is OBJ at this point in his career? He's not very explosive anymore. He's extremely injury prone. Mike McDaniels can scheme him open better than anybody, maybe. But, they have a lot of little slot guys for the past 2 years that have been fine. River Craycraft, they all go absolutely nuts. Is OBJ at this point in his career an upgrade over that? I guess a slight one, But, yeah, this is not doing anything for me in the Dolphins. Okay, next. The Chiefs this week gave Travis Kelce a new deal, one that makes him the highest paid NFL tight end with an average salary of $17 million over the next 2 seasons. Joel, to you, what does this tell you about the future of Kelce and the Chiefs?
Tells me he's probably going to retire within the next 4 to 5 years. Like, he's going to do this contract. Maybe he'll do one more, but I think this is probably like the end of Travis Kelce.
I think 4 would be a lot, I think.
Yeah, he deserves the money, though.
I think he's going to retire after these 2 years. To me, this is his little send-off contract. He's looking old. This last season, we saw it. It looked like a steep drop-off in his play. Playoffs, he changed it around. I mean, he's a playoff performer, but I still think he is regressing a little bit. He's not going to be in his prime in these next 2 seasons. He's still going to be a baller for Kansas City, though. So I think it's good for Kansas City. They needed to lock him up.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to retire before this contract is up. He'll definitely finish his 2 years, and I say max one more. It also is interesting because he had a chance to have a bonus at the end of last year. If he just played the last regular season game, he would have easily gotten over 1,000 yards and would have gotten a nice little bonus. Instead was nah. He's like, coach, let me sit down, let me rest. And suddenly he looked invigorated in the playoffs. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, where's this guy been the whole season? So I think he's kind of setting the standard for them in Kansas City, where it's everything we do is now about getting this 3rd straight championship, because whoever they're chasing, Kelce chasing Gronk or Mahomes chasing Brady, if they're both on pace, if not, the argument could already be made for either of them to be better than who they're chasing. But 3 Super Bowls in a row is something that has never been done. And I think they are just trying to set the stage for the entire team, being this is what we're aiming for. And, this team could be the greatest thing we've ever seen. But, yeah, he definitely deserves the money. We talk about George Kittle a lot being a really good piece for the Niners, but his production in the playoffs is so minimal, especially over the past couple of seasons. Okay. Last one. Robert Saleh, head coach of the infamous New York Jets, said he wasn't anticipating any restrictions for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron, in his last season with the Packers, threw for 3,695 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 12 picks. Eli, what are your expectations for Aaron Rodgers this season?
Expectations are get them into the playoffs. I mean, that's what he came into New York to do. That's why he got hired or he got signed. And I think, you know what? He's going to bounce back. He has to. You saw how sad he was after that Achilles injury. He's got a fire in his heart still, right? I think he's going to come out firing. Garrett Wilson is going to have a great season too. I think they will fall short of the playoffs, but playoffs is the expectation of what Rodgers has to get them.
I agree totally. The expectation is playoffs, especially after all that talked about being able to come back in the same season with the Achilles injury. It's for sure, buddy. Now I expect you to come back 100%. No, he was injured last year. This buddy tried to come back last year. Shut up.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't know how much he has left. I really don't, especially after a torn Achilles. My expectation for them is not playoffs. Should the Jets' expectation be playoffs? I guess, because everyone over there keeps acting like they're They've been a quarterback away for the past couple of years, but to me, there's no evidence that Robert Saleh is a good head coach. There's no evidence that Aaron Rodgers can still play at a high level. And there's no evidence that their offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, is a good coordinator. His best year, you could say, was with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers when Rodgers won MVP. But LaFleur is the one calling the plays. And we've seen now what LaFleur's done with Jordan Love. Makes him look great. Makes him look like, wow, maybe you could see this team winning a Super Bowl before too long. Whereas we see Nathaniel Hackett with Russell Wilson, and he looks abysmal. We see him with Zach Wilson. Now, obviously, it's Zach Wilson. But, my God, the lack of development is shocking. So, to me, I don't think Aaron Rodgers can get back to even a fragment of what he was. His second last season with the Packers, 37 touchdowns, 4 picks. And the one before that, obviously, 48 touchdowns, 5 picks when he won MVP, which is just extraordinary. And obviously, he's known for having the best TD to interception ratio in NFL history. If maybe Mahomes is better than that now. But, yeah, I have no faith in the Jets at all. I would be shocked if they win 10 games. I could see hovering around 9, but I don't see them getting the playoffs.
I think it's definitely a huge upgrade over Wilson, though. Like, they got 7, somehow managed to get 7 wins last season. Maybe they're in for, 2 or 3 more wins just with Aaron Rodgers alone, right?
Yeah, they did get some nice wins last season. Okay, they knocked out C.J. Stroud out of the game, and that's how they beat the Texans. Okay, fine. They beat Josh Allen in the first game of the season when he threw 3 picks to the same player because he just panicked because he sees Mahomes in his brain at all times and freaks out. And, the Patriots are still nothing. What are they going to do? And they beat the Eagles, too, in a weird game. So they did get 7 wins, and I'm not questioning the talent on defense, but I still don't like them as a team. And if they can really commit to just running the ball and then using Aaron Rodgers' brain, I think that'll be the best thing for them.
The thing is, we have no idea what this team looks like. Aaron Rodgers got injured on the first few plays last season, so we don't know what his chemistry is going to be like with Garrett Wilson. And did they add in another wide receiver too?
Mike Williams, they added.
Yeah, I think there could be some chemistry there if he stays healthy, right? He's a veteran receiver. He can catch the ball.
2 months ago, and you were like, yeah, from the hospital bed.
Count him injured in the second week. He'll barely make it to the second week. Like, I'm actually saying first week, torn ACL, torn MCL, torn PCL, torn brain. Okay? It's just dust.
I think he's going to play more than a few snaps this year, and it's just another fun player for him to throw to, and if he can stay healthy, Eli, I think he'll be pretty good.
How is he going to throw to someone in the hospital, though?
Right, but I'm saying if he does, they could be competitive somewhat.
Jupiter was my hairbrush. They could be competitive.
Okay.
It ain't happening. All right. It's time. It's been a while. There are no games, but it is time for Joel's Sunday Spread. This edition is, of course, only future bets because the game's still 5 months away. And Eli and I each have picked a future bet of our own. But, Joel, kickstart us here, yeah?
All right, people. First, a quick stretch, get ready for this because I'm about to hit you with some knowledge. Number 1, easy pick. You, Lukas. On DraftKings, plus 300, NFC East standings. Number 1, Cowboys. Wow. Number 2, Eagles. Plus 300. Easiest bet you could make. We're riding with the boys. Number 2, I hate this pick, but I think that means it works. Saints over 7.5 wins, minus 130. I wanted to take the under on them. I did, but then I had to look at their depth chart, and there are way too many good players on that team for them to only win 7 games. I do not believe that they could be worse than they were last year with the roster that they have. So I'm going to take the over on the Saints 7.5. Next, Xavier Worthy, most rookie receiving yards, plus 900. He has the 4th best odds. I think he's going to slot into that Kansas City offense really nicely. I think Pat Mahomes is going to have another good year also. And as you guys said before, Travis Kelce is probably going to regress a little bit in these coming years, and somebody needs to take that workload. Xavier Worthy. Next, Shane Steichen, Coach of the Year. Wow. Plus 1,600. I thought he should have been in the talk about it this year. This year they went 9-8 with Gardner Minshew. I think Anthony Richardson is going to be really, really good this year. I think actually they're going to be better than the Jaguars too. They got a nice little roster. I think they're probably going to make the playoffs. I don't know. Plus 1,600, Shane Steichen, Coach of the Year. And finally, Derrick Henry, over 10.5 rushing touchdowns. He's done it the past 5 seasons, and Gus Edwards did it last year for the Ravens. Derrick Henry's way better. I hope he can stay healthy all year. No reason he shouldn't get like 10.5 rushing touchdowns easy. Voila, my spread.
Okay. There's a lot to get to here. Derrick Henry over 10.5 rushing touchdowns. I like that. I like that a lot. I think in the red zone, it's going to be kind of weird to see the dynamic because you have to imagine that in the red zone with Derrick Henry, a lot of the attention is going to be on him. So maybe Lamar can sneak out for more touchdowns. We'll see. But I like that one. Xavier Worthy, most rookie receiving yards. I don't know about that one. Marvin Harrison with the Cardinals. I just think to me that is such a perfect fit. And there's no one else to throw to over there. Now, Kelsey regressing, yeah, but they still got a Marquise Brown, I know. I don't think he's a big deal either, but I think with the Chiefs,
Not at all.
he can do something, He'll get I'd say he'd probably get like at least 600 yards, That's going to take away some more things. And Checo's still coming on, so not a huge fan of that one. Obviously, I'm not taking this Dallas one because no one has won this division 2 years straight for 23 years, and I just went on a massive tirade about the Eagles. Saints over 7.5 wins. I don't have a real issue with that. I think they probably are better than they are last season, a bit more settled in. That should be fine. This one, I can't possibly fathom this. I think you're off your
It's
rocker.
nice, man.
Shane Steichen, Coach of the Year. Listen, I get it. I like him as a coach too. I think he's a great play caller. I think the Eagles miss him dearly. But to be Coach of the Year, you have to get in the playoffs.
9-8 with Gardner Minshew.
We didn't see Anthony Richardson for that many games.
But
So-
he was outstanding in the 3 games that he played.
But Joel, you don't even have the Colts in the playoffs.
Do I not have the Colts in the playoffs?
You
We might
don't.
be making an amendment eventually there. But I think he's Coach of the Year is possible.
Your wild cards are Jags, Bengals, Steelers. You have 2 teams from the AFC
We're-
South in the division.
I'm not
And not the
doing
Colts.
anything concrete here, but the Jags are going to have to be getting out pretty soon. The Jags are not keeping
Tila.
there for long.
Wow. So, yeah, that one, you have to have them in the playoffs if Shane Steichen's winning Coach of the Year, because otherwise there's just no chance of that happening.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Eli, what do you think?
Starting with the Saints over 7.5. I like that. They had 9 last season. They shouldn't be worse than that. Maybe they'll get 8. This might be the perfect line, actually. So, yeah, that's a good one. Shane Steichen, that's a reach, man. Plus 1,600. I like those odds, but I don't know. I don't see that either. That's a big reach. And then Cowboys 1, Eagles 2. Lock that in. I'm putting my house on that. Love that, man. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Well done. Xavier Worthy, I'm same page with Lucas on this one. Marv Dog, he's going to go nuts on the Cards, man. He was drafted the highest wide receiver for a good reason. He was outstanding on Ohio, and I think he's going to click right away with Kyler Murray. Derrick Henry, I would say that's a lock, over 10.5 touchdowns. That's well done. Well done. He's going to hit that. If Gus Bus can do it, I mean, Derrick Henry's just a bigger version of him. So, yeah.
It's just a bigger, different sized, totally opposite. Yeah. No, I
Just a
agree.
bigger version of Gus Bus.
Okay.
All right.
Better and better. Okay.
Yeah.
Eli, you and I both grabbed one future bet ourselves. What you got?
So I am doubling down with my Chicago Bears making the playoffs. Bears over 8.5 wins, minus 150. I think this is going to be a free one. Caleb Williams, he's going to come in firing. That offense is going to be deadly. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, they're going to be a good team. Over 8.5, lock that in.
I like that because, well, one, I also have them in the playoffs, so I think that's happening for sure. Also, they won 7 games last season. I think Caleb definitely is going to get them at least 2 more wins. So, yeah, I'm all over that, Jill.
I don't mind it. I wish I knew who their opponents were for this year.
A little schedule check. They have a tough division, like, without question. This might be the best division in football now. But
They have a tough division.
I really
but
like them.
they've been bad, though, so they'll probably have an easier list of opponents.
Yes, they definitely will.
Mummies, Colts, Texans, Niners.
AFC South is pretty tough if they're going to be against
I mean,
them.
yeah, the thing is that their division is just brutal.
Vikings twice, Listen, they almost had the Lions last year too. It was a high scoring game. I remember they absolutely torched the game in the last
it's
2
possible.
minutes.
I don't mind
it away.
I don't mind the pick, Eli.
So we'll see. We'll see what Eberflus can cook up here. Is he the guy or not? We're about to find out. I definitely have question marks about him. Okay, my turn. And this one hurts me because I really dislike this team. No, not the Eagles. I love them. The Buffalo Bills winning the AFC East.
Oh, what?
So wait to me.
Wow.
Plus 150 too. Plus money on that.
Their biggest hater.
I already said I have no faith in the Jets. I have even less faith in the Patriots. They're rebuilding. And the Dolphins, listen, I don't mind the Dolphins. I think from a roster standpoint, I'd probably take the Bills if you're factoring quarterbacks. And the best quarterback just wins the division most of the time. And Josh Allen is just in a different league than Tua. And Tua is like Dak and Kirk Cousins. In big games, he's just absolutely going to fall asleep and choke the game, throw some picks for no reason. And so I think the Dolphins have got worse this offseason as well. So I like the Bills big time.
To me, that's a bit of a sketchy one because no digs, man. No digs for Allen. That's probably going to hurt him. And your Dolphins, they still have the same core. And at the end of the season, the Dolphins pretty much won that division. They had it locked up for most of the season until the Bills just started clicking in the final stretch there. I think that the Dolphins might win this, man.
They lost too many pieces to me. There's no
Bills
way
lost a good amount too, though. No, the Bills lost a good amount of defensive players.
They did. The Bills lost pieces as well, but I think the Bills on paper were already stronger defensively. Well, they were just stronger defensively, and they have a defensive head coach, so you just know that defense is going to be better. And Miami,
it's going to be a sweaty one.
It might come down to the wire, like from looking at the record standpoint, but I think in the end we all are just going to be like, it's going to be the Bills. Like, come on.
Is it though?
Eli, you're
hater. Bills
Eli,
hater.
You have the Bills winning the division, buddy. You have them.
I know.
So that is what's going to happen. Okay.
We don't know that. Don't be too confident. All I'm saying is don't be too confident. It'll be a sweaty one.
No, plus 150. I'm taking it. Ride or die. Okay, Eli. It is time for your most janky, incoherent segment.
Amend that.
It is time for the most coherent thing you've ever done.
Amend that with no sarcasm.
Just do your QB tier list, all right? It's time. Let's get this thing out here. Let's see what you got. Don't embarrass us here, okay? Please.
We're starting off at dog shite. Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, and Bo Nix. Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones, they've both done enough this past season where, this is where they belong. They are not good. Bo Nix, he should be taking over that starting role on the Broncos. And, I mean, Russell Wilson wasn't even that amazing on the Broncos. They really struggled on offense. So I think Bo Nix is going to get thrown into a storm. I don't see him doing too well with the Broncos this next season. Slightly above average, Geno Smith, Derek Carr, Bryce Young, and Will Levis. I think Will Levis has a bit of a bounce back season. He didn't get to play too many games last season. I think, half of them. A lot more time for him to dial in. The Titans should be somewhat decent this year, so I think he's going to get better as the season goes along. Bryce Young, he just didn't do it for me last season. I did not see enough of him. His skill level, there were some flashes of it, but he just was not consistent enough, and the Panthers are so, he's going to be below average. Derek Carr, he's just washed at this point. Geno Smith, he's regressing heavily. I don't expect anything great from him this season. Moving on, Deshaun Watson, Anthony Richardson, Russell Wilson, Baker Mayfield, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and Gardner Minshew. This is quite the logjam we have here. A lot of meh quarterbacks next season. Starting off with Jaden Daniels and Drake May, the rookies. I think they're going to be average. They're on pretty teams, so I don't expect too much out of them. But we'll see what happens there. And Deshaun Watson, little bit of a bounce back season. He's not going to do much. He was pretty last season, so if he stays the same, then he's meh. Moving on, good. Justin Herbert, T-Law, Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, Kyler Murray, and Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is going to die on this season. I've been telling you guys all day long, all year long. The Bears are going to be a good team. Caleb Williams is going to carry them to the playoffs. He's going to have a great season. Kyler Murray, he's good, right? He's a good little hobbit. He's quick on his legs.
I'd rather have Dak Prescott.
Oh my!
Listen, I'm not taking someone under 4 feet. Okay, I'm just not. All right, Dak Prescott can have a great regular season, and Kyler Murray, he's a short little hobbit that won't go anywhere in this league. He's not leading the Cardinals to a championship. Everyone knows that.
Nothing better than good. And then Jared Goff and the Lions. I mean, they're a pretty well-oiled machine. I think Goff is going to have another good season. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he's gonna have a good bounce back season. Come on, the Jets, that'll be like probably 9-10ish wins. He's gonna be a lot better than what we saw with Wilson. Him and Garrett Wilson should click. That could be a somewhat decent of an offense. T-Law, he just keeps regressing. Honestly, last season I had him in solid or a couple tiers above good for most of it, but man, during the end, I really lost faith in him, and I just don't see much anymore. His ceiling is definitely lower for me. So, yeah. And then Justin Herbert. He lost a lot of weapons. He's got a good coach now, but I don't see him being too much of a game changer for the Chargers next season. Next, solid. Tua, Kirk, Stafford, Love, Hurts, and Purdy. Okay? Tua, you know what you're getting out of him. You know him, Hill, and Waddle, they're going to connect. They're going to get yards every game. They'll be in the playoffs. They'll be competing for the division very closely. Kirk Cousins.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire.
He's going to kill on the Falcons. I've been saying this all along. There's a lot of weapons on that team. And him and JJ on Minnesota, they were dynamic, okay? They had that really good season. They won like 13 games, all one score. He knows how to clutch it up in the fourth quarter. He does, and don't shake your head, Lucas. He has lots of times, okay? Matt Stafford, he's a good veteran quarterback, okay? Don't get me wrong. He's going to have a good season with the Rams. Not going to make playoffs. Still be a good season for him. Jordan Love. He's continuing to get better. We saw in the playoffs. This guy is a baller. I might move him up in the season to very good. We'll see. And then Jalen Hurts, a weird season last season. I think he's going to have a better season. I really do. I think he's going to be able to throw a lot more confident with the time off. He's going to come back fired up. And Brock Purdy, we don't know what's going to happen with his wide receivers. That team still has a lot of weapons. He's proved he can get his team to the Super Bowl, and he's a great quarterback, actually. Next, very good. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, and Dak Prescott. Dak, I'll get a lot of heat for this one, but Dak Prescott, he's a good regular season quarterback. He gets his team 12 wins, whatever. Every season, man, they're not going to fall off, okay? They're not going to fall off. Dak is the same Dak we've seen. Him and CD are going to a ton of yards together, all right? CJ Stroud, I mean, he just keeps getting better. He's going to be amazing this season. Joe Burrow, bounce back season for him. Josh Allen doesn't have the same weapons, but I mean, he's shown he can make anything happen with his legs, with his arms. He's amazing. Lastly, elite. Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Not much to say about Mahomes. He's greatest quarterback of all time almost. And then Lamar Jackson, he had a crazy season last season, just using his legs. He can run touchdowns in, right? And he just changes the game for Baltimore. So, yeah, there we go.
Wow.
I got so much.
So much as well. You want to go first?
Okay.
So much?
So
I like dog shite, and I like slightly below average. Then when we get to meh, I think Anthony Richardson has to move up. Okay, then the rest I agree with.
We haven't seen enough of him.
I think still he's better than the rest of those guys there, and I think he's actually better than nobody above him. Anyway, then we get to good. Goff's got to move out of there. Goff's way too good for the rest of these guys. Then we get up to solid, and Stafford's too good for those guys. Got to move Stafford up to very good. Dak and Stroud are way too high. They got to move down to solid. Stroud, we have not seen enough of Stroud for him to be up with Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, and Dak's not even close to either of those guys.
No kidding.
And then when we get up to very good, Joe Burrow, swap him with Lamar because he's way better than Lamar. He's way
no.
I honestly, for the longest time, I didn't realize there was anybody on the same level with Mahomes. I wouldn't have put anybody on the same level with Mahomes.
Neither would I.
You did, and I'm switching him with Burrow for sure.
Yeah.
Really?
So you think Lamar Jackson is the second best quarterback in the league then?
I think for the season, yeah. We're not talking playoffs here. The regular season.
Well, no. Playoffs are definitely a part of it.
Playoffs are like almost everything.
You think he's the second best quarterback in the entire league, Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, with what we saw last season.
Wow. I mean, he won MVP last season. I get that. I think it should have been unanimous even. I didn't get that one straight
Ravens
douchebag vote for Josh Allen in there, but what?
Like he was crazy all season long, man. And if he didn't fall apart in that one game, they could have made the Super Bowl, man. And who knows? Maybe they could have won. Like I don't know what the schemes were in that playoff game, but he was just not running it with what was making him successful all season long.
I agree. The coach didn't set him up for success, but who would you rather have as quarterback, Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson.
Really?
Okay,
I would.
I would rather have Josh Allen than Lamar Jackson.
Really? That's crazy. What?
Oh yeah.
Lamar changes the dynamic of
really good.
He changes the dynamic of the offense with no other quarterback can do what he can.
Don't get me wrong, he's amazing.
And if no one else can do what he can offensively, I think that has to be in an elite tier.
Here's my biggest problem with Lamar Jackson because there's not much honesty to pick at. The dude wins like 74% of his games, which is historically great. I think he's the best athlete on the field a lot of the time, but we've never seen a quarterback like him be successful in the playoffs ever. So that's why I rather have Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, probably even CJ Stroud, honestly.
But I think this season Lamar is going to be pissed. He's going to play like he knows that's on his shoulders. He knows that he chokes in the playoffs every season, and I think this season the Ravens are going to go far.
To me, I disagree because it feels similar to the Cowboys situation in which no matter what changes, it's always kind of the same. Where you kind of always know your limitations, even though you can have some like fresh hope for the new year. It's never like really like we're gonna do it. Maybe they feel that way, but I don't know.
Also believe that they got worse. They got worse as a team, especially on the defensive side. Yeah, I've got a lot of problems here. Slightly below average. I have nothing wrong with that level, other than I'd bring some of the people down from meh. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Jaden Daniels, Gardner Minshew. I'd bring those guys down. I'd keep it with Anthony Richardson. I like the flashes that I saw. Baker had a good season. I'd keep him there. Good. I'm actually mostly fine with this. Maybe I'd drop Aaron Rodgers. Not a little nitpicky. I won't really touch that. Purdy and solid is too high for me. I'm bringing him down. I don't think he's...
Dude, and
Kirk. And Kirk.
You don't think Goff's solid?
Yeah, actually, I would move Goff up. Yeah,
Goff is good.
I'd move Goff up to solid.
Goff is good.
I'd move Goff up to solid. Kirk and Purdy have to drop. Definitely Kirk. Definitely.
No, man. I'm saying the Falcons are going to go off. The Falcons are going to go off. You even said they're going to win their division.
Yeah.
For a team to win their division, I'd say the quarterback has to be in a solid tier.
A wet bucket full of dog win that division. Like
this is no bias. Listen, I'm not a Falcons fan at all.
I don't remember if I said that I would move Purdy down, but I would also move Purdy down.
Yeah, I'm moving Purdy down.
You can't.
When I look at Tua and Stafford and Love and Hurts, I see things that Purdy can't do. Honestly.
You can't move Purdy down. He's going like the 49ers are such a locked team. Like
you can't do it, man.
This is a QB tier list. Not
I know,
a locked team.
I know, but I'm saying that because he has so much talent to play around with, to pass to, that it makes him better.
So you're basing this off his weapons, not even what kind of quarterback he is?
Like the chemistry with them that he's built.
Man, this should be based on how good the quarterbacks are, not who's around them.
No, this is like the chemistry-wise. Chemistry-wise matters for quarterbacks.
This is a chemistry QB tier list?
Well, it's part of it. It's part of it for sure.
Crazy. Dak also.
What do you mean crazy?
Dak has to move down. To be on the same level as CJ Stroud, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, I honestly think you were on drugs when you made this.
CJ Stroud could be there either.
That was one amendment I will make. You've convinced me.
Thank the Lord. Brutal one.
Dak is down, okay? Dak is down.
I think Dak belongs here with Tua and Stafford. I'd maybe even flirt
I
with
see.
you
I'm not putting
up.
Stafford with Allen, Burrow, and Stroud.
I feel like
I'm just
there's-
not. There is a difference there.
I feel like
Stafford
there's
is an
a,
old man. He can barely walk.
Listen, I agree. I think there's like a tier missing in between these guys, where like Stafford should move up a bit, and maybe Hurts, and then leave
This
Tua.
guy's reforming tiers now.
Oh yeah,
No,
I'm all over
no,
it. I'm all
no,
over
man. No, I think this is perfect.
it. It's like you talked about a log jam, but I feel like you just jammed it up yourself with a bunch of nonsense.
That's how log jams happen. People create them.
I mean, Baker Mayfield was so much better than all these people last season. I'm not a huge Baker guy, but come on. What are we doing? You know, he was the best downfield thrower last year?
Yeah, but that's just an off stat.
Think about the chemistry he has with Mike Evans and Godwin. I mean, you gotta think this is a chemistry tier list, right?
Yeah, but he's not nearly on the same level as Purdy was, right?
And then what about the chemistry Goff has with Amon-Ra, St. Brown, all these other guys? Where
Purdy's also came into his own. You saw him in the playoffs go for 20-yard rushes. He was showing a new side of himself.
Yeah, for one game.
And he was clutching up, man. All right?
He did that in one game.
He almost beat Mahomes.
Yeah, he had the ball first in overtime, missed Ayuk in the end zone to win it.
Oh, in the first half of that game, he was dominating Mahomes all over the field, okay?
He was not dominating anything.
That first half was San Francisco. Watch the film back.
It was a defensive game. That's what it was. It was no quarterback
Watch the film
dominating
back.
anything.
Purdy was the better quarterback in the first half. In the first half, he was.
All right.
You were watching a regular season game.
No.
Lucas, you're up, kid.
Sure. Now it's time for a much more coherent tier list, if you will.
I'm gonna be shite.
You're gonna love it, and you're gonna be all over it. You're gonna tell your children about this probably one day, and that's what you do, that, Eli. Yeah, that's weird of you, Eli. Don't do that. All right.
What?
Here we go. Starting from the bottom to the top. Unequivocally the worst. Carolina Panthers, New York Giants, Las Vegas Raiders. Don't know how much I need to say here. The Raiders and the Giants are both like openly tanking, and Carolina, they have Bryce Young. Don't know what he is until this point. I haven't given up on him yet, but I didn't see much last year, and it seems like they botched their first-round draft pick really badly when you see how good Stroud has been. Next, rebuilding. Patriots, Commanders, Seahawks, Titans, Broncos. Patriots, new coach. Washington, new coach. Seahawks, new coach. Titans, new coach. Will Levis, they're trying to build around him in Tennessee. Denver Broncos, new quarterback who's, I don't even know if he's a project because I don't know if there's much to build on there, but they are lacking a lot of talent. Seahawks are rebuilding pretty roughly. I think they've hired a nice defensive coach, but I think they're far away from competing for anything. Washington, new management, but definitely rebuilding. They are just praying that they got the quarterback right, and the same thing goes for the Patriots. Next, karaoke. Saints, Cardinals, Browns, Vikings, and Jets. Karaoke because karaoke can be sometimes fun, but mostly unreliable, and that's what you got here. You got Kamara, Demario Davis with the Saints, Chris Olave. Ooh, Taysom Hill, Swiss Army knife, kind of fun, but they're going to drop a game they've no business losing to the Panthers. Cardinals, Kyler Murray's going to be running around with his little legs rolling. Marvin Harrison's down there somewhere. That'll be fun, but not much. Cleveland Browns, wow, Myles Garrett. Nick Chubb's back. Fun, but can I really trust you to beat teams that you should beat? I don't know. I feel like last year making the playoffs was kind of an outlier. Minnesota Vikings, offense completely loaded with talent. Really like the head coach, but as far as J.J. McCarthy goes, not really a believer. I don't even know when he's going to start. And New York Jets, fun because Aaron Rodgers never shuts up, so he constantly keeps the media cycle rolling for us and gets us with a bunch of new stories, but I think that team's going to be a total dud. Next, maybe 10, likely less. There's a chance that all these teams win 10 games. Colts with Anthony Richardson, if he comes out, doesn't get hurt, and stops like trying to run through linebacker walls. I think he has a chance they have a chance to win 10 games. I really like the head coach. Chargers, I really like the addition of Harbaugh, obviously at head coach. I think he's amazing, but I still think they're a lot more likely to win maybe 7-8 games than actually get to 10. Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the division, made the playoffs last year, and even won a playoff game. Baker Mayfield kind of rejuvenated his career there. Mike Evans, new contract. He was amazing last year. They lost some defensive pieces, but had a really good draft. Do I trust them? Not more than the Falcons in their own division. But the Falcons are here as well, and to me, they have the most talent out of anyone in the NFC South. I do think defensively they're better than people think. They could win the division realistically with 9 wins, because that division is horrific. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they've never had a losing season with Mike Tomlin. That's just an unbelievable stat that he has. Do I think it's more likely they win 9 games or 10 games? Yeah, I think it's more likely they win 9, but could they win 10? Yeah, because they always do and sneak in and plague us all, and I have them in the playoffs right now. Regular season Warriors: Bears, Dolphins, Cowboys, Bills, and Jags. I don't think, other than the Bears, that any of these teams got better in the offseason. I really didn't like it for the Cowboys, Dolphins, and Jaguars. I didn't like their offseason. I don't think any of them drafted particularly well. Bears, to me, won the draft, and I think they are going to be a lot of fun in the regular season, but I think they're so young. I think they have a ceiling, and I don't think that they can actually win consecutive games in the playoffs. Maybe one, but I'd probably bet against it depending on the matchup. And the Jaguars, I'm a huge Trevor Lawrence guy, but I don't like their offseason either. Doug Peterson definitely on the hot seat. Next, Voyeurs, Eagles, Packers, Niners, and Ravens. These teams are just staring through the window of the Super Bowl bubble, and they're just shouting to let them in. They're a bunch of creeps, these teams. They're just watching. The Eagles, I think they had a great offseason and great draft. That's why I moved them ahead of the Cowboys. Packers, I think they're young and developing in the right direction. Now, is there a chance that they have a down season, take a step back? Yes, because success in the NFL is not linear. There's a chance someone here, probably 2 teams, is going to have a just weirdly bad season, and that's just the way the NFL goes. Nothing you can do about it. My bet is kind of on the Niners, but I still have them in the playoffs. The reason I have them this low is because I think they're not going to win their division this year. And the Ravens, they, to me, were the best team last year. I thought they should have won the Super Bowl. They had to beat the Chiefs. I think they had a better team than the Chiefs, but the coaches panicked and did Lamar Jackson absolutely no favors in that playoff game against the Chiefs. And Lamar Jackson has 1 loss in his career against NFC teams. I think they would have won that Super Bowl. We already saw them smack the Niners in the regular season last year. Super Bowl contenders: LA Rams, Detroit Lions, Cincinnati Bengals, and Houston Texans. Not much to say here. I think all these teams trending in a great direction. Lions were already contending last year, only got better. Bengals, Joe Burrow, stay healthy, always contending because he's that guy. Houston Texans, really good last year, very promising from what you saw from the coach and the quarterback, and they only got better as well. And the Rams, same thing. They were in a rebuild last season, and they made the playoffs and almost beat the Lions. So this team I love. I think Stafford is maybe the best quarterback in that entire conference. So I think they're contending for a Super Bowl. And top of the tier list, unequivocally the best, Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, what are you supposed to do here? Last year was supposed to be their down year, and they won the damn Super Bowl. So I don't think there's much to say about them. Good luck finding a list that doesn't have them at the top, other than Vegas's odds for most likely to win the Super Bowl. They have the Niners. That's absurd to me. They're on too many drugs over there. All right, that is my off-season tier list. Eli, you're shaking your head. What do you got for me?
Where do I even start? There's a ton of things I have to go through in my head. Let me just start. My Seahawks. You're doing them a little dirty here. Okay, you're doing them a little dirty here. They were 9-8 last season. All right. I think they're not quite in the same tier as the Patriots, the Commanders, Titans, and Broncos at all, man. They definitely belong in karaoke. I would move them up. And while Geno is regressing, I think that team still has DK Metcalf, Lockett, and a new coach. Who knows? The offense might be even better. We'll see, but I think definitely move them up 1.
He's the biggest question mark to me, Geno Smith. Also, I don't know. I like their new head coach in McDonald, but is it they had Pete Carroll, who I also really liked. So is the coaching disparity going to be huge? Is he really an upgrade? I don't really know. Still 2 defensive guys. We'll see. That one I did move them back and forth. So I have no. If you have an issue with that, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm good with the karaoke tier there too. Maybe 10, likely less. I would say Chargers. LA Chargers have to move down. All right. They got a new head coach, Harbaugh, which is supposed to be really amazing. But Herbert, man, I've been saying this. Who's he going to pass to? And they have no Eckler either anymore. That offense, I think it's going to head this season. They're going to have a tough time winning games.
I don't think you can head when you have a franchise quarterback and an O-line that I think is going to be completely revamped. Now you have Nate Solder and you have Joe Alt. I think Herbert is going to have all the time in the world to throw now. When you have these lesser receivers, what do you need? You need more time for these guys to get open, build some chemistry. It doesn't help that they screwed up their first-round draft pick last season and with a bust of a receiver, but I think they have enough to get it done.
But we saw in many games this season without Keenan Allen injured and Mike Will injured, Quentin Johnson and Josh Palmer, like it just wasn't doing it. That offense looked pretty bad when it was just those two guys he was passing to. They lost so many games just because of that.
Sure, so but now you have Harbaugh.
That doesn't do enough for me. I don't think they're going to get 10.
I don't think they're going to get 10 either.
Likely less, but I move them down. They definitely belong in the Saints tier.
No, I don't think they're as bad.
Yeah, they definitely belong in the Saints tier. The Saints even have more weapons than them.
This is me giving Herbert even more credit than I've ever given him.
Yeah.
Way too much.
Yeah, this is crazy. I did not think you'd have the Chargers this high.
It's time to develop.
I like regular season Warriors, except for Jacksonville Jaguars. They go down for me, man. Like I said before, T-Law's ceiling, it's lower than we all thought. He's not as good of a quarterback, and they lost one of their biggest wide receivers. What's his nuts?
Ridley?
Ridley, yeah. So I think that's going to hurt him.
You have them in the playoffs, though, Eli.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. That's your 7th seed, buddy.
I just checked.
No, you didn't. Check again, man.
Well, I need to make an amendment then.
Wow.
Okay. Well, you made like 4 already, so all right.
I made 1, and it's called take integrity. Because when you know you're going to run into these areas where you're suddenly going to shoot yourself in the foot, like you did and Joel did earlier, you need take integrity and you need to make the amendments.
I've been on the Jaguars for weeks.
You are. Well,
you're the one who has the dumbest take ever, thinking the Cowboys are going to miss the playoffs. Okay, buddy, Mr. Integrity, you can't say.
Yeah, take integrity, buddy. I made an amendment. Hello.
You made the dumbest amendment ever, though.
You made
goodbye.
You made no.
Why would I make one this early?
Well, maybe because we discussed it and laid out the rules for it.
I'm saving mine.
The Jags are gonna, buddy.
But you're not saving it, and neither is he.
Everything else, I'm pretty fine with, except for the Rams. Rams are not Super Bowl contenders. They're voyeurs.
Oh no, they're coming.
They're not contenders, man. They barely made the playoffs last season. What makes them contenders now?
Well,
just because they made a close game with the Lions.
You're gonna win the division and get it right in there. Best quarterback too.
All right, is it my turn?
It is.
I got a lot of problems, and it's mostly with your stupid names because they group teams incorrectly. Because here. This I agree with a lot of what Eli said. So first of all, Seahawks have to move up. I think the Browns have to move up because I don't think they're as bad as the teams you've grouped them with, but I don't think they're good enough to be with the teams above them. So that's an issue.
You have the Browns
tier, buddy.
Browns in no man's land.
Chargers have to move down. The Rams have to move down to voyeurs. And then also the Bears and the Jaguars have to move down. I'm going to change eventually. The Jaguars will not be in my playoffs before the season starts.
Should have made an amendment, boys.
Figure it out. And also,
figure it out.
What's the difference between the voyeurs and the regular season Warriors?
Because the Voyeurs have a chance to get inside that Super Bowl bubble. I don't think the other teams, the regular season Warriors, are not hovering around that at all to me. None of them are contending.
So then I'm thinking you move down the Ravens because the Ravens never have a chance of beating the Chiefs in the playoffs.
You want me to get them out of the Voyeurs? What if they're not against the Chiefs? What if the Chiefs are already out?
You think they're going to beat the Bengals?
Possible. Yeah, I think they have a way better chance against the Bengals. A couple of seasons ago when the Bengals beat the Ravens in the playoffs, they only won because Lamar wasn't there. They barely beat them. That's teams that know each other super well. The Ravens could definitely beat the Bengals.
I don't like the tiers.
Try to rework them next time, bud.
Well, here's the thing. It's hard to balance it when I make an amendment and you guys don't make any amendments, but then when you look at the tiers, you're like, this team is going to be terrible. And then I take one click on your playoff tier, your playoff list here, and it's like, what does Eli have in here? The Jags. That's weird. What does Joel have in here? The Jags. That's weird.
Share me that list.
It's your list. You made it.
I don't have this hold up. I'm not staring at this all the time. Like I don't have this memorized. All right, buddy. So
you should,
Mr. Cowboys aren't making the playoffs.
You should know your own take. I feel like that would be a pretty easy thing.
I made months ago on a of teams. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't remember them
What
exactly.
did I name
Yeah,
that
you
list?
should be.
I'm not perfect, okay?
Oh, you
I'm
named
not
it.
perfect.
Or at least you should be ready if you're going to argue about it, because I'm about to smack you with it in the face, and then you look like a dunce.
Don't smack me with anything, please.
That was good bringing our old bits back, though. I enjoyed that.
Did you? It really looked like you were feeding off of that, man.
I loved it, personally.
Oh, yeah. No, I can tell.
I love when we get some good arguments in here. Put some hair in your balls. The next pod, boys, we're going to start with amendments, I think.
Mendy's.
Don't call them that.
Yeah, we should.
No.
We should. The Mendy's. That'll be one of our segments, the amendments.
Okay, fine.
Mendy's.
We're going to call it the Mendy's.
I can
Yeah.
be the commissioner of them, and I will decide how they work.
You decide all of our
Sure.
All right, let's call it there, lads. That's it for us on this week's edition of the Almost Sunday podcast. Like and subscribe, I dare you.